Hello, everyone. This is Mary Kurek with Frontrunners Innovate, and I have this lovely lady with me that has such an intriguing story that I had to bring her forward and introduce her to you. So meet Kawser Amine. And Kawser is probably one of the most unusual professional athletes you're ever going to want to meet. She comes from Afghanistan, and as a female athlete in a country that really, is not really wonderfully, let's just say, open to educating females. And I won't say that country is that way necessarily, but there are definitely parties there that do not believe in girls and women's education. And it's kind of interesting to meet someone like you, Kawser. So Kawser is the founder. She's in the United States now, by the way. And she is the founder of Women's Solidarity for Peace and Leadership. And it's a nonprofit organization. And she's got some interesting things she does under that umbrella that we'll talk about too. But let's just meet her first and find out a little bit about her. So welcome, Kawser. Appreciate that you're here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mary, for your nice thought and just introducing me as such a powerful woman. So I'm just so surprised and thank you so much.
Lonnie, what
Uh,
you've done, you are powerful. You have
I try
accomplished.
to stay powerful. So these all women's power and positive reactions for what support could really make me powerful woman. So I'm just nothing without the all women's support and drip is ocean, as I mentioned. Thank you so much for inviting me today on your amazing talk, and I'm very enjoying this conversation today. I hope our audience should also enjoy our conversation. I would like to just give a little bit of an introduction about myself.
Yeah.
I'm Kawser Amine, former soccer player from Afghanistan women's national soccer team and founder and CEO of Women's Solidarity for Peace and Leadership. And also, I'm operating my soccer academy in the name of Amini Soccer Academy under WSPL, which is the shortcut of Women's Solidarity for Peace and Leadership. I'm operating my soccer academy. And the reason I'll just talk a little bit later why I just thought about developing this foundation or this nonprofit for this specific unique name, and what is the story behind these all words. So, and it's really I feel so good when I'm just bringing my all thoughts and words out, Mary, and thank you so much for just inviting me today.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that little bit there. You are a story and a half. Literally, I feel like people need to know a little bit more about your background and growing up where you did, and maybe how challenging it might have been for you to get to the place that you are now. So would you share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, thank you. So, as you mentioned, it's not really easy in a country like Afghanistan. Women should continue their education. As we all know, the updates as women are like still fighting for their education, their basic right in Afghanistan. And it was not only the issue right now, but it's still in past 20 years, like before, women's had like a lot of issues back in the country. But some few developed provinces like Afghanistan, Herat, Mazar Sharif, and Jalalabad, these provinces was like most developed provinces that women had access to their right. But the rest of the provinces is still but when the youth government had involved in country, still women doesn't had like school to go on and attend. This is the reality. Every Afghan know that. But by international governments, United States of America's support, I'm very glad that I just made it. I just completed my education, and I just started studying political science in American University of Afghanistan in 2012 when I graduated from school. Um, uh, but on 2016, when the attack happened, I was about finishing my bachelor, and I was just in a middle of way, and the attack tragedy happened to American University of Afghanistan headquarters, and some of our loved professor and student fellow has been killed by the terrorist group. And after that attack, the Taliban has sent a letter to all student and individual that we're trying to target you, all student outside of the campus, and they warn all the student. On that moment, I had 1 years old daughter, and I was not feeling safe to continue going to university to campus, and we never had a choice to continue our education online on that moment. So I tried to transfer my credit to ISBM, Indian School of Business and Management, and hopefully I got my bachelor in general management, and I have my specialization in international relation. And hopefully I could start up my master's soon in one of the amazing universities of United States of America. So it was a lot challenging for me. And I'm very glad that my mother as a woman really supported me and me and my sister and our life. Even when me and my sister were dreaming to play soccer, which was not possible in our country, really remember exactly those moments that my mother realized that we both really interested in soccer, and my mother bought us a soccer ball because we never had a soccer ball. We just played with, we were trying to roll a card on something to make it circle like a ball, and me and my sister were like playing in a kitchen living room. We had a little mini tiny
Necessity
home.
is the mother of invention. That's what my mother always says. There you go. You took that to heart.
Yeah, and one day my mom came and say, "Why you're trying to scroll everything, make it circle, and you're playing? Do you love soccer?" I was asking because we call football in Afghanistan,
Hmm.
and I just say to my mother, "Yeah, we love to play football, but we don't know how."
Hmm.
So my mother went to her school and she just enrolled us to the and some football practices just inside indoor in our school with the
Hmm.
girls. So one day, our head of sport management director from our school just reached out to my mom, and she said, like, "You're both girl, like playing soccer like a fighter. They're really passionate. These two needs to come to the bigger ground, you know."
Hmm.
And I just want to support him. My mother tell her that, we live in a country that people doesn't believe in women's power, and they don't accept girls could go and play soccer in a ground, everything's,
Hmm.
because you're also part of this society and country. Our sport management director, she was so kind, and she just advised my mother, "I know you're behind these two girls. If you could let this girl to dream back, just support us, continue supporting, and let's see that lives bring them where, right?"
Hmm.
And my mom said, "I'm totally agree, but I can protect them from people's bad comments, reaction, and also security issues."
Yeah.
So this idea just developed in our mind that we need to play in a bigger ground. We need to play in a bigger ground. One day, this lady from head of sport management just came to my mom, and our teacher said, like, next week is a tournament for
Hmm.
Afghanistan women national soccer team. Do you want to nominate your two girls, two daughter? My mom said, like, "What?" I don't know if they're able to play because I never watched them to play professionally in a ground. So how could the teacher say, like, no, they don't need to be very professional, because once they selected to the national team, then they will have their coach, they have their practices. This is just a
Yeah.
startup, because the most important thing for us as a teacher, as a coach, is just seeing passion inside a player, that if they really want to play something, right?
Hmm.
Any type of sport. Because to be honest, when I was kid, really kid, very, very, very small, I was watching my dad. He was always watching Muhammad Ali Khalid's matches, boxing, and I
Yeah.
was trying to be a boxer. But once I realized playing soccer with my sister, one day I just taught my with my father that I will just ask my father that, can you just enroll me to some of these boxing classes? My father just say, "No, because you will hurt your beauty, your women. I'm not saying you can do, but if you don't care about your beauty, all our stuff, so you can go and be a boxer." And I was saying, like, oh, because I was little one and I never had that type of, I
Hmm.
bigger idea and in research that boxing never could hurt my beauty, but it's to still a type of sport that women's are like limited, having
Hmm.
limited access to, and like a
Yeah.
soccer, what some of people would say, like, it's main type of sport,
Hmm.
women's are like not able to play. But I just started my career as a soccer player because I also love soccer, and my bigger dream is one day I wish I could reach out, I could meet Maradona just live in person and have his signature. I know it's a very crazy and big dream, but I dream. We just went to the tournament because my mother said, for joining this tournament for the national soccer team, you both need to have soccer dress. Your safety is more
Hmm.
important, but I will be there to watch out you guys, what you make happen.
Uh-huh.
So we just went to the U.S. Army helicopter ground, which was
Hmm.
a very high secure ground for the girls could play soccer on that time. It was behind
Hmm.
the U.S. Embassy in Sharjah, Kabul. The tournament just started. A lot of girls, just 10, 9, 12 years old, just joined the tournament. we just sort up our match between the different school, like a club. And at the end of the game, the president of Afghanistan Football Federation just came and talked to my mother and said, "Is this two lady like your daughter? Because me and my sister never just match. Our face is totally different. We're not. Nobody knows we're sister, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we're so close and attached to each other. He just came and asked my mother personally, "Is this two ladies your daughter? Because I hear two sisters like attending in this tournament." My mother say like, "Yeah, these both girls like my daughter, but so sorry for her because they're not well played and they're not really professional." But he said like, "No, they're doing amazing job. I'm gonna select them for the national team." Oh my gosh, my mom said like, "I can imagine that you both could do that."
Oh.
And once my mom came and hugged both of us, and she said like, "Oh, you did it, but are you ready to play a national team?" We say like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" We
Of
really
course.
enjoyed. Of
Fearless.
course. Here
Fearless.
you go. And from that moment, it was so proud moment for me. But in meantime, and same time, I feel so disappointed that I was not able to share this proud moment with everyone in my community, in my family, in my society, because and somehow because of the rest people's reaction mentality, I was always trying to hide this that powerful moment and just metal of my heart that 17 20 years later now I'm just sharing my proud moment. It was very breaking my soul sometime, but I never gave up. And I really exactly remember those moments that me and my sister was like hiding our soccer uniform to our school bag because nobody should see that we're playing soccer. Even
Yeah.
during our taking commute, going to the bus from school to the different place that for our national practices, nobody even could think that we're playing soccer because we both know that we will face a lot of challenges because we already had sacrificed a lot to continue our education, but we were not ready on that moment to accept another rest for our life. So this was the tragedy moment plus proud moment for me. But I guess I could very say in a highlight and brief that it's very hard for humans, not only women or men, to just hide your proud moment inside yourself, not able to share it. It's kind of killing someone without shooting, right?
Yeah.
And hiding someone's feeling is really important, but that's how it just gave me the energy and idea. Now I'm standing behind or front line to ask for 1,000 million Afghan girls right. And some of my friends say like, "You're putting your face in the media, right? It's a very risky thing for you. How you could do that, how you could deal with the other stuff." I was saying like, I don't care, because I live in a small, secure country right now. If I'm not able to raise my voice as a women athlete, that as an educated woman, that I suffered a lot in past 20 years during my journey, who should stand? Who should ask for their right? I know I'm not able to just change everything, but at least I could just to bring out their thoughts, their silent voices. And this is the reason of WSPL Women Solidarity for Peace and Leadership. Because when the Taliban stopped girls' education last year on 15 August, when they took the power control last year, I was planting for peace in backyard of my friend in San Rafael. And I knew from before that Kabul will going fall under Taliban's control one day very soon, because all provinces has been fall in a month, back to back, 34 provinces. And I just got a call from my family, and my sister was like crying and saying like, "Hey, Kabul falls." And I was not able to control my feeling, and my hands were like shaking, my body was all over. And I just thought the first thing just came in my mind was just saving girls' education in Afghanistan. And I thought with myself, and I knew that Taliban will stopping girls going to school. They will not allowing girls to continue their education, because they were always has been against women's freedom, women's education in the past, as I reviewed the story. And I immediately started a campaign under the name of Stand for Girls' Education in Afghanistan. And my education got very viral, and I got a lot of media attention, interviews. My statement just pitched in different from different news channels and radio stations, even in India and in Saudi Arabia. But uh, it just motivated me to move forward and just at least do something. But when I saw like a country, like a group, for example, which is not recognized through international governments, they're coming and stopping girls' education, and even a lot of women's of power are not taking any action against these unfair things that Taliban are doing with women's. It just really disappointed me. And I was saying, like, just few women's leader has been a stand and just sanctioned Taliban, but the rest is still silent. Why? This is the matter of thousand millions girls' education, which is really important. I'm not asking for something which is not located to my right. It's just education. For God's sake, it's all human being right. That's gave me a reason. I just built up my foundation under Naval Women Solidarity for Peace and Leadership, because I just thought, I may be wrong, but I just thought with myself, because I have 6 years of research about women's issue and gender's issue across the world. I did a lot of research, and I just figure out with myself, why always women are like facing these types of challenges in the world? Why women are like always victim? And I just found with myself, because they never had enough solidarity. Or how could we connect these all women's together? Women's of power, women's of wise, women's of nature. If they all came together, support women support women's, I'm sure that we will never see a discrimination against any girls in a part of the world, because this is very important thing. And I'm very glad my youth friends like you and many other examples are like trying to support me by bringing my words out. And these words are like really powerful, and I'm sure that my words is not enough powerful to change something, but at least I could be a reason for the change. And I'm very glad. But my foundation is really focusing to network women's globally. Not even, I'm not focusing only in Afghanistan. In Pakistan we have a lot of issue with women's. In Iran we have a lot of issue with women's right. And Ukraine we had a lot of issue with women's recently, and also in Syria, Syria, Palestine, Israel. But there are different issues, but somehow it's kind of related to each other. But the most craziest one is Afghanistan women's issue, because they're struggling for their basic right? Education is a stop, economy situation is totally broke. And for example, you can't imagine, I'm just getting a lot of messages, texting from Afghanistan every day from my friends, women's network. They're asking for help. And because they're jobless, they don't have any money to feed their children. Because in their families, the only women's was like source of money, source of income. Once that women's are like sitting at home, she's not working, how could she feed her children, her senior mom and dad? You can't imagine how hard is the situation. It's not only education. Women's are like kind of arrested, right? Socially arrested. And it's kind of clipping someone's wing that not allowing them to fly. It just feel like that. But we will. I have different project in Afghanistan I'm thinking of to help women back, especially my main focus is network women's, support women's in the sports sector, which is very important, because in this past 20 years we had a lot of achievement in sport with women's. If you're not standing as an athlete, if I as a professional athlete not standing for saving these all achievement, everything will be destroyed. And this is my all effort to just save these all achievement and stand and release back those girls to the soccer ground, basketball ground, any different types of sport. They just need to have an access. But this is the international protocol could talk about how could the Taliban would leave or release this girls back to their ground. They just need to talk and sign an argument, or just need to do that a protocol. But at least world need to take an action in terms of allowing girls in Afghanistan to get or access to their basic right.
Fantastic. I think that the one thing I think we missed through all of this was what you've done for some of your fellow athletes. So tell us a little bit how you managed that.
Yeah, so once my campaign got very viral, and I just reach out, I just reach out to the different offices, even to the yeah, the State Department office, and I just send them the manifest list of 24 national player from different fields, like from basketball, soccer, that I personally know, and I had connection with them back in my country. But that list never worked still. The manifest list is a state of the State Department. I know because of the high volume of cases and pressure for the State Department, I can understand that. But hopefully this campaign and connection could really help these 24 national players to get to the Australia. And it doesn't matter if they're in Australia, if they're in Costa Rica, if they're in US, but at least their life is safe. But still, FIFA is trying to help some remaining national players from Afghanistan to evacuate them, and also different federation through their confederation is like trying to help their athlete, especially professional athlete, women's, and a lot of them has been recently evacuated to that different Europe country, and also some of them to US. I personally know them, and I'm just trying to build back my network with these all women's to just have a very positive and powerful message to the world that the remaining girl in Afghanistan is still in need.
There is a need, and it's so big. You just got to have so much courage just to think about what you could do to kind of help them and to create the kind of advocacy campaign that you have done. I mean, like, so you can't possibly have any idea of how much good it will do, how much impact you'll make, but sitting back and doing nothing doesn't seem to be even doable at this point. I mean, I know you realize that you have to do something. Where are you going from here? Talk to us a little bit about what you've started here in the United States, your soccer academy, and where else you may be going with the work that you're doing over the rest of this year.
Great. So I just immigrated to US legally in 2019 with my husband and my daughter because my
In time
husband
for the
was working.
pandemic.
Yeah, yeah, before pandemic, hopefully,
Yeah.
in 2000, April 2019, because my husband was working with US military and NATO for more than 6 years as a professional video editor. So during the Trump administration and some bans that he created during his administration, a lot of visas has been frozen for these Afghan translator and also Syrian and Iraqi people. So our case got delayed for 2 years, and hopefully we got our visa in 2019, and we just immigrated to US. When I came to US first at the very beginning, I was thinking like, wow, because it's totally different lifestyle through the Afghanistan. The
Mhm.
second thing, it's totally different life level through Afghanistan, right? Because like the source of the income, the economy, like the costs for everything, education, everything was totally different. I was comparing everything every day with myself, and we just came. Hopefully we had some of our husband family close relative in California. That's why we just came to California, San Francisco. They really help us to manage and start up our life here in US, but I know it's very limited afford and help. But it somehow I was thinking with my husband that we need to start up from somewhere. Right, okay, based on my career, I never worked as a teller. It's it's very unique experience for me. I had interview with one of news network like 3 days ago, and I just talked about my totally different experience being a teller, women right activist, now as a founder CEO, and I was comparing myself, but it was totally different experience for me because I never had any other chance. I
Mhm.
just applied for a teller job and I got interview when I just selected to work, but I never had experience dealing with money, right?
Mhm.
And it was totally different experience for me. I just started working as a teller with Citibank in San Francisco for about 10 months. When the COVID started, I was pregnant with my second child. So my husband say like it will be very risky for you taking commute from Concord to San Francisco in a board and you're pregnant. So just your health is in primary. So
Yeah.
I just tried to stay at home for about 1.5 years. And in a site, I was actively in a contact in a ground in Afghanistan. I just had the idea of doing something, helping women back in Afghanistan. So you left the country, now you're safe. What about the rest? You just need to think about. And I was actively just trying to build my network and just keeping my relation from US to Afghanistan. But at the middle of May on August 15th, the tragedy just happened. It just really shaped me and really motivated me to do something actually. To be honest, Mary, it's very hard for me. I just went through a lot of challenges in US even as an immigrant woman, right? But hopefully it was a lot of source of support for us as an immigrant. I'm very lucky. I'm a legally immigrant to US. I came through an SIV, but we see a lot of 1,000 million people without any status living in US right now. They're just trying to seek and have a pathway to apply for US citizenship in the future, but there's no future for them. There's no hope. The same example with the TPS people that they came recently to US because as you know, I'm also full-time employee for Coalition Human Immigrant Rights Los Angeles as a North California refugee organizer. Because it's a lot of things happening with refugee and immigrant right now, and we are likely trying to push the AAA Act in a Congress and with the Biden administration to pass this bill to just give a pathway to these new recent evacuees to US to apply for US citizenship or green card maybe in future. But the different experience for me, I just want to catch up through my first sentence as a teller, being a teller, women right activist. But in the meantime, I had passion working in a women's sector. But I just tried to left my passion and trying to start up from somewhere as a teller. It really motivated me to just experience being as a teller. It's really good experience, but I never get interested in working, continuing my career. So that's why this COVID really helped me to stay a little bit away and just stay at home. And I just think about building WSPL base. And I was thinking like I need to start some sort of helpful sector for women to help them. And hopefully I did. It's very hard for me, Mary, to be honest, as a women immigrant, as I mentioned it before, to run a nonprofit in US because I never had a nonprofit experience before. I work with different organization, international organization back in my country, with presidential office, general secretary council of Afghanistan, a lot of different position, but gender program director, but gender advisor, political advisor, but I never had experience of running my own nonprofit, especially in a country with different rule, regulation, culture, and also barriers. And I started. And the very early day, I was just trying to explain to my friends that, hey, I'm trying to run a nonprofit, blah, 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 blah. They all say like, oh, did you ever went through the whole process having nonprofit in the US? Even to be honest, 3 months before, I was confused to separate 501c status through nonprofit. What is 501c? You're talking about 501c. So I have my nonprofit. I don't need 501c. You try to explain it for me. This is 501c. And this is your nonprofit status. You need to do from there. So luckily, I just had a consultant to help me through these all other legal paperwork and processes. And I just registered my nonprofit as a nonprofit, WSPL as a nonprofit, and also Mini Soccer Academy. And I'm looking actively for a potential funder. And also I'm trying to get my 501c. I just launched my website, a very good news, www.wsplglobal.org. So, and if folks are like interested in follow me, just learn about my work and more details, they could went or visit my website. I know my works are like not really completed yet in my website. It's just intro, but I'm trying to put some of my projects once I get funded or once I get support for that specific area. I will put all activities and details on my website soon. But I'm in a stage of creating these all ideas, just in a middle of way. But it is really totally different and hard experience for me. And I know without financial support, you're not able to run the nonprofit. Without someone professional not pushing you forward, it's not possible. And I'm very glad that I just made a lot of amazing good friends in US. They're all women, they're all experts, they're all so kind. The one example is you, Mary. They really helped me, they really support me to move forward. And lucky I am.
There you go. There you go. Well, you answered the last question I usually ask really well, which was who do you need to move you forward? So you're looking for funders, some sponsors, and maybe more women to join your cause and to help you out. Maybe some other media types would be interested in sharing your story forward. One thing that comes to my mind that I read recently that I thought was genius on this woman's part is she has a nonprofit, and she also had a very compelling story. She wrote a book, and then the profit from the book is what's funding her nonprofit. So I know. So she just rolled the money that she was getting from the book right into a project that she has going on for her nonprofit. So I thought it was very ingenious. Use everything you've got. That's, in a lot of the speakings that I do with young people, it's like, you've got more than one gift or talent. You got more than one asset. It's going to take all of them for you to get done what you need to do. So whether that's speaking, writing, workshops, the instruction for the soccer academy that you've got going on there for youth. I mean, there's probably with you, there's 100 different things. You can only go so far with what your energies will allow, but probably the best thing is your opportunity to impact and motivate other women to help you. So that will be big. So I'm going to say this to everybody watching. You definitely need to jump on board with this young lady if you can help her out. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go to www.frontrunnersinnovate.com where you're going to get this interview and the links that she has mentioned, her website, any other links she's going to share with us, and maybe she'll share a couple of pictures with us and you'll get to see that too. So Kawser, if you'll stay on, we'll say goodbye to everybody else. And happy Frontrunners.
Yeah, of course, Mary. I just want to continue just sweet talks and conversation, but we just need to be mindful of time. And thank you so much, Mary, for your amazing talk. I really enjoyed talking to you today. And I just want to say a last sentence for everyone as a remaining sentence. Please support women's and women's need to support women's in a different sector. Women's solidarity could really make a big impact and effect to the world women's sector. Thank you so much, Mary. And I really appreciate your talk. And goodbye, everyone. I know I'm just a lot these days in the talk shows, podcasts, but please do not mess up to just join or just watch our talk with Mary. And thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye-bye, babe.